everybody out there in Bourbon Real Talk land. Randy Sullivan coming to you today for what might be my most exciting interview ever. I mean, I don't want to oversell it.
It's the mustache.
It's the mustache. It's Tony Lucca. Been a huge fan of yours for years and years, and so we are gonna do a deep dive. I'm gonna tell you a heartfelt story about how you changed my view of music. It's gonna be great. Everyone's gonna have a good time.
Nice.
And today we are going to be drinking Rock Hill Farms. Are you familiar with this? Okay, all right. So this is a Buffalo Trace product.
Okay.
So Buffalo Trace has 2 bourbon mash bills. So before we got on camera, Tony tried a little bit of the regular Buffalo Trace product.
Big fan.
This is mash bill 2. The other product is mash bill 1. Made into a lot of different whiskeys, including this one here, which is Elmer Tea Lee. Okay. So Elmer Tea Lee is also mash bill 2. The most famous product they make, mash bill 2, is Blanton's. So a lot of people like Blanton's. It's in that real pretty Fabergé egg looking glass bottle. It's got a neat finger top on it. But this is another product that they make. The proof is different than all of the other products. That's typically what they do. This one is 100 proof whiskey. So it's just a little bit stronger.
Packs a punch.
It does pack a little bit of a punch. So,
all right.
So typically what we do is we smell it up.
Well, hello there.
I'm sure a lot of my audience has seen that video.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
How are you doing? I really enjoy these.
Yeah. So if you notice they're etched. That's the whiskey club that I run with some of my buddies. Someone say whiskey. We're at the time of this recording, we're almost at 1,300 members. So that's good.
All right.
So on the nose, I'm getting a little bit of it's a little bit spicy. So there's the fruit component that I'm getting is a little bit of an orange zest.
Sure.
And then transitioning into a little bit of a clove kind of a smell. And on the finish, some cinnamon on the nose.
Oh, impressive.
Well,
I don't smell any of that until you say it, and now I'm like, wow.
Yeah, the power suggestion whiskey is powerful. and I've said like the weirdest shit, like the weirdest tasting note I ever gave, and I thought that I was insane. And then the #1 taster in the U.S. is Fred Minnick, and he gave this tasting note the other day for a whiskey, and it's the dust that they used to sprinkle on puke when someone would throw up.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And every so often a whiskey will have that, and I gave it as a tasting note. And people were looking at me like, are you crazy? And I'm like, no, smell it. And they're like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's terrible. All right, so now let's taste it. Wow. So a lot of vanilla on the front end on this, which that's kind of what Blanton's is known for. And this is a pretty similar product to Blanton's. A lot of vanilla on the front end. And then I'm getting more of the spicy notes, like the clove and the nutmeg.
Yeah, definitely.
And not a whole lot of the fruit flavors.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of I'm not getting a orange, maybe a little bit of cherry, and then like clove, nutmeg, and a good bit of cinnamon on the finish.
Let me ask you, what is I know in wine, legs is the jam. That's what you want to have, good legs.
Yeah.
Is that similar with most, if not all, good whiskeys?
Not necessarily. So whiskeys, and I did a video about this, but there's a process that they put whiskeys through to remove the oils, which is that's what gives it its viscosity. They chill it down, and then they filter it while it's chilled because the fatty acids that are in it congeal and become larger easier molecules or particles that they can filter out. And so that will actually thin a whiskey out so that it doesn't have as many legs. But a lot of the whiskeys that haven't gone through that process do have more legs, and some of them, I call it sheets. So if you swirl it in a glass and then you watch it, it's just a sheet that's coming down because it won't even break up into drips. But yeah, a lot of people say scientifically people can't taste the difference between the non-chill filtered and the chill filtered whiskeys that are thicker. or the non-chill filtered whiskeys are thicker. And a lot of people say that they can taste the difference. I prefer my whiskeys with everything natural in them. And so, you know, I like them to not be filtered.
It reminds me a bit of, oddly enough, the use of the vanilla. Are you familiar? I know we're going not to jump ship. There might be some whiskey, the purists out there that blaspheme.
No.
But Don Julio 1942 tequila.
Okay.
Top shelf bottle. 1942 the year Don Julio started making.
Sure.
Tequila. But it's to me, there's tequila and then there's Don Julio 1942. Mm-hmm. It's insanely good, but it's very similar in color, vanilla flavors, and it equally is.
So I will say this, and I could be wrong. Everybody out there in the world that's listening to this, you can correct me. Almost certainly aged in American bourbon barrels. Yeah. So that's there's any similarities, probably, you know, because they're still wet when they fill them up. So, you know, it does pull some of those flavors out. But,
right.
Awesome. So let's get to it. So if you don't know who Tony Lucca is, Lindsay, my wife, is one of his largest fans. I've seen some super fans that definitely trump her. So if you're a fan, don't get mad, but my wife is a big fan. I will say that. And I don't want to fight y'all. Some of y'all ravenous. Like, you got crazy eyes when I seen you at concerts, and I'm not trying to fight you. I'm sorry. But so they do. Yeah. You know the look. We're going to talk about that, actually. So you were on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yes.
In my wife's formative years. And so that's where we first came across you. You continued a music career afterward, and you were on a couple of different shows after that, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, went out kind of on your own. You've had a couple of record labels. And then a few years ago, you were on The Voice.
Oh, 7 years.
A couple of years ago in my mind.
Same here.
But we're getting old quick.
7 years.
Time is moving faster as I get older.
Man.
Yeah, so on The Voice, came in second, I believe.
The third?
Second
runner-up.
Second runner-up.
Which is like a sexy way of saying third.
Okay, all right. No, you were number one in my heart. And you were on Adam Levine's team? Team Adam. Signed with his label for a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. And then out on your own, Patreon, speaking engagements, MMC reunions, songwriter, so on and so forth. And you sang at our 20th wedding anniversary, wrote a custom song for us.
Dude, it's my favorite song.
Is it?
It's still my favorite song.
You did not sing it last night at the concert.
It's coming out on Valentine's. Decided to put
shit.
It's coming out on February 14th.
By the way, I'm just now finding out about this.
Sorry.
He did ask permission.
Way to bury the lead, huh?
Yeah, he did ask permission if he could put it on the album. Of course, I wanted him to do it.
Yeah.
But there's some raw stuff in there. But yeah, so that's awesome. So that's kind of the backstory. And I'll tell you this. So I'm a casual music listener. In fact, I only listen to gangster rap music exclusively. Okay.
You're not kidding.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I love J. Cole.
That is great.
Kendrick Lamar.
Wow.
King Shooter.
See, now I want to interview you.
Yeah.
I'm so curious.
I love
that. I mean, you know, that's cool.
I don't know. There's reasons for it. We won't go into it now. So I don't really understand the difference between what you do and like when Britney Spears pop songs were out at first, until I started going to your concerts. And it was actually at a TFDI concert. So he has a group of guys that sometimes they tour. Backstory, artists sit around and drink and say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we went on tour? And then they actually did it. And they're like, we're totally fucking doing it. And that's the name of their tour, is TFDI, totally fucking doing it. And I mean, just like the harmony, the tightness, all of that. And I'm sitting there and I was like, wait a minute, that's different. This music is different, right? And that's when I started to realize the difference in what I tell people, the difference between an artist and a performer. A performer can be made, right? They got a little bit of a voice. They don't have to have that great of a voice. They have a look. You can build a persona around them. Boom.
Yeah.
you make money. An artist is it's an expression from inside. So shortly after that, we go to this thing. I don't want to give too much details in case the girl watches it, but we're at this place and there's a 15-year-old girl. She had a beautiful voice, and she sang like this old school, like Otis Redding song or something. And I was fucking disgusted. I just couldn't. I was like, this girl has no emotional connection to this deep, deep emotional song that she's singing. I would have to leave the room. Yeah. Like, I can't even watch this. Mm. And so you taught me, you know, inadvertently, I'm sure a lot of other people, what art is in music.
Wow.
Okay.
That is, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate you acknowledging as that because yeah, you know, the longer I'm at it, man, the longer I keep doing it, and I've always, as you get into like 20 years or something, and then you're like into 30 years of doing something, you start to like, what is it that's got me hooked? What am I still so willing to leave the house for weeks at a time to go do it? And the bottom line is, man, is it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling. From day one, music has been the single most fulfilling thing over the long haul. Yeah. Through everything, through the ups and downs of life, music is just, you know, I know what it's done for me. It's been so enjoyable to watch what it does to others, more specifically what my music does to others. It's like, what a gift. Mm-hmm. You know, getting able to make music is a cool, like, you know, golden ticket on its own, you know, but then to like get to touch lives with it, it's nothing like that.
Right. Did you grow up in a musical house?
Yeah. My mom was the 10th of 12 kids.
Wow.
And they all can sing. Most of them can play something. And almost half of them made money, made various degrees of a career out of it. And so, yeah, family reunions were just
like jam sessions.
Like one of the greatest musical memories is when my grandpa was dying. My mom's dad, he had cancer. He was like dying, and it was right around Thanksgiving time, and everyone came to town, and they thought like, man, any day now, right? So everyone came home. It was Thanksgiving time. All this, my mom, these photos of her and her 11 siblings together in one place, and then like my grandpa had a grand piano that I grew up playing, and grabbed the upright bass from the neighbor's house. The next thing you know, like. My living room that was my first house concert I ever went to. I'm like 10 years old, man, and I'm just like, this is mine for the taking. I get to do this. I get to be a part of this, and like right away, it was clear that me and a couple of my cousins were going to be like clear torchbearers of the family. Yeah, I'm so grateful.
So, was there anyone that was kind of achieved a level of fame from your family history in the music industry?
Yeah, there's I had a great uncle who had a recording jazz. He was a jazz recording artist. I think with Columbia or California, Bob Stevenson. This is his name. And then my grandpa was a pretty well-known dude in like the golden era of the radio days up in the Midwest. He was Uncle Jimmy. He was the character on a show called the Auntie D Show, which was like this great radio thing. And he was Uncle Jimmy, like he was the band leader of on the Auntie D Show. He knew Soupy Sales and Danny Thomas and the crew of Midwest entertainers, and it was kind of a big deal, Also the Archdiocese organist, Archdiocese of the Detroit Catholic Church.
Damn.
Raised 12 kids on a musician's income, and he was the consummate showman, and that was his thing. His youngest brother, my great uncle, who passed like in his 50s, was so sad. He was the Carol. He was the one who showed me.
Yeah.
My grandpa was the showman. He wanted me to learn theory. I to this day, I can't.
Can't do it.
And he had the flashcards and the Mickey Mouse. How ironic. Mickey Mouse, like a workbook kind of thing. I'm like, I'm not into this.
Right.
And the concert pianist of the Detroit Symphony was doing a residency at a local music shop in my area. And basically she was she was going to come to town and teach just a few people for a couple months. And I got in on that. They got me in on that. I got one of her slots, basically, to go see her once a week. And I went and showed her what I could do, and she totally berated every piece of it and crushed me with it. And I went back a couple weeks in a row and kind of learned this way and that way. And I'm just like, done. Stopped playing the piano at home, and my folks were like, well, hang on. Have you heard him play the piano in the last 4 days? Nope. Okay, let's talk to him about it. They're like, what's up? I'm like, I just don't like the lesson. Then we're done with the lesson. Just
Problem solved.
Speak up, bro. So that was it. But you remember that scene in Ray, the movie Ray Charles? The Ray Charles biopic? Jamie.
Jamie Foxx.
Remember the scene, the beginning of the movie, where little boy, when Ray can still see, he goes into the general store and there's that guy in the back playing the piano. He looks back there and he walks in there and he's standing next to the guy, and the guy's like, "You like music?" And push this button. That whole scene, that happened to me with my great uncle, this Kerouac guy. He showed me that stride.
I want to do that.
And then he showed me, I got this. Shit, yeah, I got this. And that was it. That was never turned back on. Loved playing piano, learned all the sad bastard sappy, Billy Joel.
Yeah. So,
like I said, I try to get too long-winded.
Hey, be as long-winded as you want. I know we're going to put this out on some networks, and you can try the Elmer if you want. It's the same whiskey, just a little different treatment. It's also, and it's 10 proof points lower too. So if you want to pace yourself, you can do that. Yeah. So anyway, one of the things that I thought was interesting is that your style of music is quite different from what's presented on the Mickey Mouse Club. And so I'm just curious, like, what motivated you to want to try out for the Mickey Mouse Club?
I mean,
was it a family member? Was it?
Well, I'll try to give you like the shorter version of this story, because it is kind of long. But long story short, I thought I was auditioning for Newsies.
Okay.
The film that they did, that who Christian Bale, I think.
Christian Bale was in it. Yeah.
A handful of dudes.
My wife has every word of that movie memorized. That's great. Yeah.
So I was going to audition for that. I went down to do that, and when I got there, my mom and my sister came. It was downtown Detroit, which is about 45 minutes without traffic to where I lived outside of Detroit. And so I drove all the way down there after school, this appointment for me to go to audition for Newsies. And so down there, we're all excited. I'm nervous and whatever. I'm supposed to bring a ballad to sing and an up-tempo song to sing and something to dance to. Okay, so we came with that. But I didn't have a headshot. I didn't have nothing. It was not a stage kid.
Right,
you weren't stage parents. I was just like in a garage band, And we said to him, "Hey, we're here." Went to the guy holding those auditions. Said, "Hey, we're here. I'm Tony Lucca. I don't have you on my roll. It must be a mistake. I don't have you. We're not expecting you. Quite honestly, not what we're looking for today. So you must be here for the Mickey Mouse Club auditions." I was like,
"You're like, fuck it, I'm here."
No, I'm not here for the Mickey Mouse Club auditions. I'm here for Newsies. Yeah, okay. And I was totally embarrassed and pissed off. It was dead. My mom was like, "Well, let's just go down and check with the Mickey Mouse Club and make sure what they're expecting. Let know that we was a mix-up."
Right.
So we had to go to this other conference hall way down a few floors in this building we were at. And I went and asked them, like, "Hey, I'm trying to look good." "Oh yeah, you're up next. You're just just be more." And I said, "Oh, well, wait. Here's the problem. I came to audition for Newsies. This is Mickey Mouse Club. Did not compute. Like, I didn't watch it. I didn't know. I'm thinking tap dance, ears.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking they're going to try to bring back that.
Right.
No, thank you. Done. And so I started to walk away. All attitude. And my sister was like, "Why are you being such a jerk?" "What do you mean being a jerk?" And she said, "Man, if I was half as talented as you, I would go in there right now and show those people." What? You did not just do that. Seriously?
You're like, "No,
come on." Make me feel like a jerk. Well, you're a jerk. No. So I went in, and it was one of the most memorable bits. You know, I go in and this guy Matt Cassell, the casting director, he got the biggest kick out of the fact that I had done nothing before this, and he could tell. Like he's got, I'm chewing gum, and he puts me on camera. He's all right. So you just let your name and where you're from. What? It's like what? Just say your name and where you're from. Like, okay, cool. I'm Tony Lucca. I'm from Wanted, Michigan. Chewing gum. He says, do you want to spit out your gum? I said, no, I'm good. Like, no, thanks for offering, but no, I'm good. Yeah, he did exactly what you did. He fell out laughing. He goes, so let me get this straight. You've done nothing before, like you've done nothing. Like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not supposed to even be here.
Right.
I'm here for
I'm supposed to be over there.
I stayed in there for 40 minutes with him, and he was like, listen, here's what's gonna happen. Like, if you wanna do this, because if you want to do this, I'm sending you to Los Angeles for the thing, because like you were what they're looking for. I'm like, okay, man. And so yeah, had to come back the next day for a quick call back, and then yeah, a few months later, I was out in Los Angeles. Screen test. So I was just a kid, just a kid looking for like.
How old were you when that happened?
14 when that initially happened.
And then,
by the time I went out to LA for the screen test, I had turned 15. I was on the show beginning of 15 through the end of 18.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Mickey Mouse Club years, I'm sure there's a lot of information out there about that, so I don't want to dive too deep into that. But yeah, cheers. But while you're on the Mickey Mouse Club, you met somebody, you were in a relationship.
Yes.
And I believe that continued after the Mickey Mouse Club.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a big celebrity now.
Yeah.
She's about to be in the new Star Wars movie. And is that weird?
It's weird. It's so weird, man. I mean, like Star Wars is in my DNA. Like that's the thing, and apparently so is Keri Russell. I guess forever to be like, no, I think it's really cool. Obviously, to be,
For the record, I didn't say her name. He did. I wasn't trying to bring her.
That is who you're talking
to. But that is
yeah. Well, he was speaking about Keri Russell.
Yeah, I was talking about Keri Russell.
And yeah, man, it's been interesting to watch her her success and whatnot. J.J. Abrams, I think, is probably the one solely responsible for that. J.J. has a tight fabric of he's the guy who, back in the day, basically had the mentality, first one over the fence, throws the rope, and then like, if I break, we break kind of mentality. Right. So like a lot of the people that he casts in his projects are people that he endeared to early in his career.
He keeps them close.
And he keeps them close. So like when he did, what did he do?
The August Rush.
No,
I don't know shit about
yeah, no. I think it was didn't he did an episode of the Mission Impossible?
Oh yeah.
And he cast her.
Yeah.
That, and I was like, whoa, homegirl, you're gonna go, wow, that's great, and so for him to reach out to her for Star Wars is pretty cool.
See, because fans, we talked before we started recording, they're like, people don't really bring it up that much. I've seen fans bring it up several times. And somebody asked, like, do you still talk to Keri Russell? And I was like, he's got a wife. Like,
yeah, no,
I know you have this nostalgic thing that they're going to get back together, but I think they're both married and have moved on. Yeah. And I think you said that when you do communicate with her, it's through a publicist or something like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a time when, and still, like, if I had to get in touch with her, I'd get in touch with her. Like, we would text each other occasionally every time I would go to New York to play a show. Like, one of these days, she's going to be able to come to a show. Maybe she'll be in town. And for a while, there was like, every time I would hear her, she's like, oh my God, I just landed in LA. And we were just never the same. So I haven't seen her out and about in many years. She hasn't really, she didn't come to Orlando. She didn't come to Anaheim. She was in Anaheim. She didn't take the Anaheim party. Not quite sure what that's about, but yeah, man.
Wasn't she in Orlando too, or something? There was somebody that was in Orlando. Oh, it was JC.
Jason.
Yeah, we saw pictures of him with you. Right?
He showed up to the cast and crew Sunday picnic thing by the lake, which was really cool. And if there was any like downside of the MMT3 thing, was that we spent so much time trying to do the fan appreciation aspect that we just undersold the value that we would all experience if we had a longer cast and crew day and a half. You know, like had we been able to like map something out for Monday, where like, typhoon something where we could all just go and connect. Because a couple hours over a picnic, you know, was cool, but it wasn't nearly enough. No, so yeah, I guess back to your question about the whole Keri thing. It's weird when you're a part of something like that, you know, and to be to have it be so public, and mind you, God,
you were a kid.
We were kids, and she was the it girl in '99.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 99, 2000, and so
Shed Felicity.
Right, and Wild Felicity, she you know, that was well before smartphones,
right?
The internet, you know. Thank God, because that's a gauntlet like nothing else. You know? Even when things are going swimmingly, you know, it's still a lot. And to watch someone that you love that much go through it, you know. I know you guys are no strangers to trauma, and it's. I mean, not to say like, oh, becoming a Hollywood starlet is traumatic, but there are bits and pieces of it that are fucking traumatic, man.
You know, that's a weird side note is that when you start to put yourself out there, even like what I'm doing on a podcast, people will come out of the woodwork that just hate you for no reason, right?
Who are you?
Right. Who do you think you are? And I'm like, well, you could do it too. It costs $150. It's fine. Like, I'll give you the money, you know? But so I can't even imagine what it's like for a young person that was, you know, on such a major network, had so much exposure to the public, and then, you know, kind of being thrown to the wolves.
Not an uncommon story, you know, and that's why you see so many teens because it's not for everybody. It's, you know, having people around you that love you and really have your best interest at heart. Those people that have that are so far in between, and those are the Timberlakes. Those are, you know, like, you know, the dude is a rock star because his mom was a rock star. His dad was a rock star. He had great folks and was close to them the whole ride, man, to this day. And that's pretty telling.
Sure. Yeah. So we made mention of it. You are married. I'm sure that you had many opportunities to marry women. Countless, probably. Women that were just lining up, willing to, like, hey, what I got to do? What do I have to do? So I thought it would be interesting to figure out, how did your wife snag you?
Man.
Like how'd you meet your wife? Like, how did that happen?
Well, there's a long story, and there's a short one. The short one was that I think on our first date, she just.
How'd she even get you to go on a date?
Second date. Well,
because I've seen after the shows, there's these women, and they look very similar to like the lion when it first sees the baby gazelle. You know what I'm saying? They just have this. That's the crazy eyes I was talking about. You know what I mean? They just got this look in their eyes, like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
That's so funny, dude.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm not like a starstruck fan. But to be there and to see the starstruck fans that are like, there's tension in their muscles. They're just like, you know. And so being in that environment, like, how do you even decide who you're going to go on a date with? Why do you date your wife?
That's why I think, like, a lot of, you know, successful relationships are based on, you know, I don't say opposites, but, you know, contrast for sure, you know. And I think, like, you get two Hollywood stars together in a relationship, man. That's a lot of same. That's a lot of same. That's too much same.
Yeah.
You know, and you're both going through crazy stuff. You're juggling with your ego and your relevance, and your, you know, like that. Man, you know, God bless those who try it, but, you know. Anyway,
it usually doesn't.
Yeah, so my wife had no idea what I did when we She had just heard about it. She'd never heard my record, never heard my music, nothing. She was a server at a really rad restaurant in Hollywood, and I went in there one morning for breakfast, and a mutual friend of ours worked there as well, and I would go in, have breakfast, and I would ask our mutual friend about my wife, Rachel. What's the story there? And apparently she was asking our mutual friend, what's the story there? And our mutual friend wasn't relaying the messages. So we wasted a lot of time with a broken intermediary.
Was this mutual friend male or female?
Female.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm picking up what you've been doing.
It's all very clear. So eventually my wife took things into her own hands, or into my own lap. I'm going to put it. And this is from the song Imagination. Literally, I don't really tend to write too much about exactly what happened. This is exactly what happened. I was at a Christmas holiday party at a buddy's house. My buddy Joe Firstman, my co-wrote briefing. He was having a little hang in his place. And my wife and our friend, they were out at the company Christmas party. And on the way home, they're like, hey, let's swing by Joe's to see what's going on and say hi. And so they came in, and I had been there all evening. I was just about to leave, but I'm sitting on the floor against the wall over by the coffee table and stuff. And they walk in, and I'm like, I was so on my way out of here. Now I'm going to have to stick around. So they go into the kitchen, and they say hi to Joe, whatever. They grab the drinks, they come out, and they both come right back to me. And our friend sat next to me, and we hugged, and she sat next to me. And my wife came and just laid down and put her head in my lap.
No shit.
And I was like, there she is.
Yeah.
I literally said, there she is. She was like, so when are we going on a date? And I was like, what do you mean Friday, 7 o'clock? I mean, I went straight for like the Happy Days playbook. Friday, 7 o'clock. And that happened. That's what happened. We got together. First day, it was just first day magic, you know. Literally, I think she had just got out of the shower, and she had this beautiful black hair, and she looked so good right out of the shower. She never wears an ounce of makeup, and I'm a sucker for that shit, man. Yeah. She really does it for me.
Yeah. No, I get it. 21 years. So, I mean, you're at the 20th wedding anniversary party, so man. You get it. Yeah.
I love it.
So it's always fascinated me because, I mean, you made reference to it. I mean, a lot of people that are in the entertainment industry, the relationships don't last. You guys have been married a good long time, right? How long have you been married?
12
years?
Yeah, man. 12 years.
That's like 100 million years in Hollywood time.
Yeah, that's like 3 marriages.
Right.
Yeah, man, I definitely think that, and it's funny because I know you would relate to this as well, but talking with another songwriter friend in Nashville who just celebrated 10 years. And I said, man, the cool thing about 10 is that after 10 years, you just have less and less advice for you. Because like, what's working for you after 10 years might not be what they're going to need after 10 years. Yeah. It's really different.
Yeah.
And he got chuck out of that. He agreed. It's just like, yeah, some days he's like, is this what marriage is? And other days I'm like, man, why didn't they tell me this is what marriage was? You know,
that reminded me, I'd been married for like 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. But I mean, we got married when I was 20. So I was pretty young. And I went to the gun range, and the guy that was like walking me down and showing me all this stuff, I said something about my wife. He said, "You're married?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I've been married for 7 years." And he goes, "You've been married for 7 years?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "How? You don't look old enough." I said, "Man, I'm married young." And he said, "I'm not married. Like, what's marriage like?" And I looked at him and I said, "Marriage is apologizing to your wife because she lost control." Because that had happened the day before, and I didn't want to fight with her, and she was like super up in arms that she couldn't find the remote control, and I knew for a fact she had lost it. I knew she had, and I was like, I knew I was in the danger zone, and I just looked at her and I said, "I'm sorry," and I was like, but then I hated myself for doing it, right? By the way, that adds up And if you're curious, that's what causes midlife crises later. But you can't not speak up and speak your mind, because eventually that shit comes out all at once. So you gotta plan for that.
A big zit.
Yeah, it's like a sebaceous zit. That's true. So your lifestyle is non-conventional. You don't work a 9-to-5 job. You travel an awful lot.
Yeah.
How does that affect your relationship? Seems like it takes a special person.
It does. It takes nothing shy of a special person. And the coolest thing about most of my musical companions, at least the ones that are married, when we travel and tour and stuff, we trade notes and tell each other anecdotes about our marriages or conversations we have with our spouses or little practices and things that we do, whatever it is, man. It's like there's a kinship amongst these women.
Okay.
That don't even know each other. They never even met each other.
Do they talk to each other?
Sometimes,
talk to each other?
In some cases, like, I don't know. Yeah, I had a tour mate for a while his wife and my wife became really good friends, and they're still in touch. But like, for example, like TFDI, Rachel and Rebecca, Jay Nash's wife, never met. And it hurts my bones. It hurts me to my soul when I see Rebecca or I'm on tour, I'm hanging out, or I visit with them up in Vermont, and I have to call Rachel. I can't believe you guys haven't met yet, because I can't wait for them to meet so they can have an afternoon bottle of wine and get caught up. You're like, my God, right? Like, what don't they have in common? And it's kind of a beautiful thing. It's a weird sort of thing. And actually, I've got a few female friends that hit the road and have the male counterpart at home, and same thing. Those are good dudes, especially because if you're gonna do it, you can't. The trust thing's got to be step number one. Right. You got to establish that, own it, praise it, worship, trust. If you don't have that, show's over.
Right.
So we got that.
How do you build that in the beginning? Because she wasn't your fan.
No, right.
So she hadn't had a chance to see it.
Yeah.
Even I can see it, and I'm not a jealous girlfriend.
Right.
Right. So when she goes out and she sees, has she been around the entertainment industry? So she kind of...
Not so much. I mean, she's in the service industry for a while, grew up in it. Her dad owned a restaurant in Joplin, and so she knows the world of folks and stuff. But she's, honestly, I don't think that there is I'm sure there's books and means of information out there that you could look up and how to answer your question. How do you build that initial? How do you build that trust?
I just meant, how did you do it?
Right. And what I was saying is I didn't, other than just keeping my nose clean and being honest when I say I'm yours.
Right.
And this whole thing means nothing without you and our kids. Like, take me at my word or don't, but that's what you're going to get. For her, she's got the laboring oar, like she's at home with the kids. Right. And I'm out here having adult conversations all day, every day. Right. I'm out here like, sipping whiskey and talking about myself. I mean, it's the opposite end of what she's doing, man. Right. And so, let alone to have to worry about me being out here with the wandering eye and, secrets and shit. Like, doesn't work at all. So really, I think it comes down to the caliber of person who, in thinking about, like, again, for example, Rebecca Nash, like, same thing. She's like, brother, if we ain't got trust, we ain't got nothing. Right. Like, this ain't gonna work, And then you have your limits within there, and you understanding of one another, and what works for them is different than what works for us, and same, know. So,
what I thought of is that you got exposed to wild fan opportunities at a much younger age, and probably had more time to work those things out. Yeah. Right. And then as you got older, so I had this really weird experience. Did you
move on to this? Sorry.
I'm going to stick with the Rockville Farms. I like the 100 proof, but yeah, check out that.
I'm going to go a little less octane. Try this.
Yeah, slightly less
sweet bottle.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome portrait.
Yeah, so he basically saved the whiskey world. That's Elmer T. Lee. him and Booker No and a few other people. The bourbon was going real bad, and they came up with very interesting ways to start to reinvigorate passion for bourbon in the United States, and obviously it worked because now there's a bourbon renaissance, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, everybody wants.
It's like mustard.
Yeah, but he did pass away, but he was definitely instrumental in bringing bourbon back. So, cheers to Elmer T. Lee.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but
that's really good.
Yeah, it's good, and it used to be kind of it wasn't like an ultra premium. It's like a $35 bottle, and now I have not seen one for sale at a store in 5 years, and they sell for like $120.
Oh shit, it's on the rise.
Oh yeah, you can.
Nice. Oh, how long have you had this? Or when did you come into the club?
I trade for things, so I'll get something that's equivalent value, but I got two, so I'll trade one and get something I don't have.
Yeah, man.
And so it's kind of like that. So back to the story with my buddy. So I have a buddy who didn't make the best life choices.
Okay.
He's been in jail a number of times. He's a concert promoter.
I love the air quotes for those of you not watching at home.
Air quotes, concert promoter. That's code for drug dealer.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, just so you know, I did a podcast with the former wife of a mafia boss.
Oh.
And I was like, what did he tell you he did? She said he was in import-export business.
Oh, God.
I was like, are you kidding me?
That's like...
like, that's everybody knows
that's code for like
that's
new
code for
gangster.
mafia.
That's code for like new gangster.
But she was from
fresh off the boat.
From Vienna, Austria. So English was her second. She didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so my buddy's a concert promoter, and so we go on this bachelor party, and there's this guy, and he's there's this girl that's like trying to infiltrate our group of guys, and it's Pat from Saturday Night Live.
Oh God,
it's like an asexual creature.
Yeah,
like you can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes up in the group, and she like starts to grope on this one guy, and I know he's married, and he leaves with her, and I'm irritated. I'm like, guys, I came to like hang out and have fun and get drunk and cut loose. But I ain't trying to hang out with somebody while they're cheating.
And I got to cover track.
Yeah. Right? Like I'm not. That's not what I'm here for. And my drug dealer friend goes, well, it's different for you. And I said, how's it different for me? And he goes, well, you assume that women find you attractive frequently, right? And I was like, well, yeah. And he goes, yeah, that's never happened to him before. He didn't know how to deal with that, right? And I remember thinking, did the drug dealer just drop some science on my ass? Like, that makes so much sense.
He's in the business of romanticization and justifying causes.
And so for me, I kind of think that when you have...
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Right. When you have opportunity and you have to learn how to deal with that opportunity, you can become kind of immune to it because you're like, okay, well, it doesn't mean anything that you want me because I've seen this a million times before, and this is not real. What I have with my wife is real, and so that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, man. I've not seen friends with this. They get out of their skis. Once they start to wield a particular power of instrument and audience.
Right. Yeah. Not a good look.
Nah.
So I love your music, and there are many, many songs that I know all the words to. I don't know that I've ever told you this, but I have social anxiety, and I fucking hate concerts. Hate them. And so last night was cool, but you're always going to find me off to the side.
That explains so much.
Not in the group.
I mean, way to hang on to that one for 5-6 years. Come on. Little heads up, man. I could have made things so much easier all these years.
Hate them.
Oh yeah.
I've always not liked them. I didn't know why I didn't like them. I've recently started having full-blown panic attacks.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Like I'm like a sniffling little teenage girl crying.
But we're okay. Just if we may take a quick detour.
Yeah, we can.
I'm kind of curious. But like, is this crowds in general, or the inherent dynamic of a live venue
loud
show?
sounds?
Yeah.
And lots of people.
Yeah.
The louder and the greater number of people, the more likely I am to start to panic. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if it's a music venue where I do not have an assigned seat, odds are high that I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been uncomfortable at concerts, and often I would go outside and get on my phone or whatever, but I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what would happen if I didn't. I just thought I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But a couple of times I've been in a situation where I couldn't get outside and I started to panic. Right. So but I still go to your concerts. And I'll be sitting in the back and I'm like mouthing the words to the song.
Dude, love it.
Like, this is weird.
It's true, man.
Right, because anyone that's looking at me is like, that poor guy got drugged to this place by his wife. He doesn't want to be here, right? And then I'm mouthing the words of the songs. So many of your songs are, well, first off, it's art, not entertainment. So you write your songs, and most of your songs have a basis in truth of something that you live through.
Mm-hmm.
And many of your songs are just heart-wrenching songs about heartbreak and relationships that you have. How has it affected your wife to hear you sing what's effectively a love song about a past relationship?
That's a great question, because I imagine that there's plenty of guys out there, plenty of writers out there who's. I even know, like a co-writer one time. We wrote a really special song together, and he showed it to his girlfriend / fiance or something. And long story short, she was taking it personally. She kind of assumed that this was about her somehow. At least his contribution to the song is about her, and wanted him to change the specific lyrics. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
That's just not happening. I'm sorry that your lady's taking it personally.
You're like, you need to get her in check.
That's not a better song. So yeah, man. But no, my wife, man. And again, you get back to, like, what is working for you? What makes it click? How do you guys keep it together? And one of the things that helps keep it together is that my wife and I share this beautiful appreciation and reverence for the creative requirements of the universe.
Right.
For me to do what I do, and for us to do what we're trying to do with our kids and our family, I depend on the universe. I depend on the creative capacity. I depend on getting, like, the right word at the right time to write the right song, and she knows that is often really random. That can be really random. And who is this one singular ego to get in the way of, like, this what is to thing. Be, right? Knowing that I'm not, this is what I do. Like, I'm not, every now and then I'll write, like, a gut buster from the gut out, something that's mine and mine alone, about something very personal. Like a song like Anchored, that was written, my wife and I, when we were leaving Los Angeles. There's songs that come from no one else's experience but mine, one star. But otherwise, like, man, when you write Monday to Friday, you're just writing, and you're doing free association with ideas and emotions and things that you've experienced, you watch other people experience. You sat there and had a great 30 to 45-minute conversation with your co-writer before you even start to pick up the guitar. Man. Like, you're just trading life notes. It's special, it's beautiful. Now, if I were to, like, write something about cheating on my lady and then, like, come home all jazzed about this song and playing it out live, jumping into the studio next chance I get to cut it, like, she might be a little
concerned, right?
But, like, otherwise, bro, she's like, we actually recently got into it, and I one of those moments where you're just like, man, I'm so much better than demonstrated. Like, she doesn't do titles. She doesn't do titles of the song. My song. Like, it doesn't it doesn't go in her head like that. So usually, like, I have to reference songs by one of the first 5 words in the song so that she knows. The place smells like Los Angeles. It's not the name of the song, but okay, here goes that. You know, like that's how she processes. And I like
That's hilarious.
The other night I was like being a bitch after a shitty gig or something at home, and she like demonstrated her inability to retain, you know, song titles, and I went off on her about like, you know, like, this is what I do, and the fact that like if we're gonna make this work kind of thing. And she was just like, honey, you need to grow up and be like, listen, we are making this work, and here's how we're gonna make this work. You're going to understand that I don't do titles.
Yeah.
Bear with me. We're gonna get through it.
Okay, we need to cheers.
Yeah.
Because my wife doesn't watch my podcast.
Oh, damn. Oh man. Okay.
Like I had to talk to the counselor about it. I was like, does this mean something?
Can I take this more personally than I'm taking it? Because I would love to. Just give me the green light, boss.
Yeah. So this is the interview that she's cared the most about for obvious reasons, right? And so she's.
How are we doing?
We're doing all right. Yeah. So
how are we doing on time? Are we gonna go?
No, we're perfect. Yeah. We're gonna cover all the content, and we have plenty of time to do it. Great. So no, she's like, now I want you to let him talk, okay? Because I don't want you to talk too much. And I'm like, babe, you should probably listen to some of my podcasts because I talk so that it's not weird for the guest, and then I edit it out because no one gives a shit what I say, right? So it's gonna be fine. Trust me, it'll be good. So no, I totally identify with that.
That's fine.
So let's. I've been fascinated with that whole subject of you being on tour, been married a long time. You write a lot of songs about your experiences with your wife and your kids. I can't listen to Sparrow without crying. Is that the name of the song?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I'm also very bad with titles.
No, see, that's I realize that's
although I do. I remember shocking details about your music for me, right? Mm-hmm. Because like I love J. Cole, I love, you know, all of these different artists, but I can't tell you the titles of the songs that I know all the words to.
No way.
Right? It's just how I am.
Well,
I don't remember.
Especially like,
but for you, I remember like, you know, what my favorite album of yours was and things like that. Like I don't know any of the names of any albums of any other artist that I like. Right? Wow. And so I don't know that. It's probably my wife's influence, to be honest. So one of I've always been fascinated with that because when Keri Russell had Felicity, mm-hmm. This was my first experience because we got married very young, right?
Yeah.
So my first experience with like testing the waters. So she's on Felicity. There's Noel. I don't know his actual name. And they're thinking about dating. And Noel's girlfriend comes in town. And it's Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like her, I hadn't seen her on anything before that.
That was her debut.
Right. It was her debut. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Basically.
Within that realm. Within the WB.
So my wife is in love with Keri Russell's character. So as any good girlfriend would do, she fucking hates Jennifer Garner. Oh. Right? And I have no attachment or affection for any of these people. I'm just watching the show for its content. Right? So here comes Jennifer Garner, and my wife starts talking mad shit about her. Right? Because she can't separate the character from the person.
Sure.
And I'm a super like supportive and motivational person. So I try to encourage everybody. And I try to protect people from hearing negative feedback that I don't think they deserve, right? So she's talking that shit about her. And I'm not going to, in the off chance that this gets back to her, I'm not going to say what my wife said, okay? In the off chance. But my wife said some negative stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? That girl is beautiful. Like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? We fought
Whoa.
for years.
Whoa.
And Jennifer, if you see this, you're beautiful and you're talented, and I have no interest in you at all. Okay, I never did, but I was just trying to defend the person. We fought about it for years. She's like, your girlfriend's on TV, right? What was the show that she had after that? She had the show Alias, and she's like, your little girlfriend's got her own TV show now. For years. And then I see you, and you're singing like this fucking heart-wrenching love song about some girl that you're no longer with, and there's your wife, like, yay, husband.
Yeah, right.
Right?
No.
It's like the opposite of my experience. Right? That's why I've been so fascinated. Like,
Totally.
I'm honestly
totally get it.
I don't even care about what you guys are learning. I'm trying to figure this shit out for me. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah, no, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So anyway, so a little backstory. Probably all that's going to get cut out. Anyway, so side note, so you have a lot of fans, and you've been interacting with fans since you were very young.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I thought would be interesting is to find out, what is the scariest situation that you've been in with a fan? Have you ever been in a situation where you felt unsafe?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't so much fan as it was the fan dad.
Okay.
All right. So the last season of Mickey Mouse Club, me, Dale, and JC all lived together in a 3-bedroom apartment in a really sweet ass complex over by Universal. We were as far away from Disney as we could get this year. This is our last year on the show,
Right.
or at least we didn't know it was the last year, but it was the first year we could live without our parents.
Right.
We were 18. We got our own place. In fact, me and Dale were legally guardians of JC until he turned 18 months. So yeah, we're all
Wait,
living.
did JC's parents have to sign off on that?
I got it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh man. Right. At that point, my God, we were so family. All
Right.
of us were family. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. But so we lived together, and one of us, I won't say who, because I was in a long-term relationship with Keri at the time. One was into like having some hangs after
Sure.
this or that or whatever, and
As young boys
we're
have been
making
known to
friends with the fans and trying to figure out which ones are cool, which ones get the eye of the tiger, whatever. Like trying to figure out like, can we make friends with you? Is this possible, kind of thing? And one of us was into figuring that out sooner than later and got good at it. And yes, found some really cool people in Orlando that we just kind of met through the network of people that we had in town. And this one fan caught wind of it and like got a word that things were a little cool at our place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so like literally it was a Saturday afternoon. We weren't working. I was at home, my boxers in the freaking living room,
just chill,
watching U of M college, football. I'm just like chilling, right? And there's a knock at the door. And I recognize the girl from the audience. She's in the audience at the show, Mickey Mouse Club. She's in the audience like most days. This girl is there,
always.
like kind of always there. And she shows up at the door. I'm like, what are you doing? How did you get our address? What? And she was like, I'm sorry, I just, so-and-so and so-and-so told me that, you guys were hanging out today. I'm like, no, we are not hanging out. So she's kind of like making her way into the door. Like,
she's like coming in.
She's kind of coming in. I'm like, no, I don't, no means no. This doesn't happen here. I don't know where you got your signals crossed, but we don't do this. This is not gonna, no. And it was embarrassing, but like instinctual at the same time. Like I felt bad for her, but I was like, I know enough to know enough.
Right,
like,
right.
Like
this is not gonna end well.
It's very clear.
Yeah.
Like, you are not coming into my apartment under any circumstance. And so she, around the same time, that same week, her and her parents got approached in production. It's weird, but they got approached for production, and they said, "Listen, we shoot this show 5 days a week, and yet we kind of composite some parts. Like we do a lot of editing with the show. The problem is that we're having a hard time editing you out of every shot in the closing of the show.
Right.
But
you're always
show,
there. Yeah.
You know, like we come off the stage or wherever we're doing final bits of the show, and we dance with the studio audience while credits roll. That was the thing. And some of the fans got hip to the red light, basically. Every camera that was on, when that camera was filming, they're all shooting at us. But when a TV studio camera is actually the one that they're using, it's red. There's a red light that goes off. And so this girl would literally, like, she'd see the red light, she'd see it jump over, and she would, like, follow the red light. Like, and then she would, like, dance with whoever was getting the camera, you know. And it just got to where the producer was like, this girl is always, she's literally in every shot. Wait, this does not work. She's wearing the same outfit, but if we need it from a different day, this is home. So they had to come to the parents and be like, guys, we need you to, like, take some days off.
Right.
Because this embarrassment, coupled with her embarrassment of being thwarted at my door, her father, who's in Boca Raton, Florida, that conjures up any stereotypes, but got a letter. The folks at the production got a letter from a Boca Raton address that was nothing short of a mob threat to, like, us.
Right.
Like, who knows, like loose cannon threats kind of shit, right? And so, bro, they call us in, and I don't mean to throw anyone under the bus, but, like, Disney, if you're listening, this wasn't right. We shot the show that final season, like, top to bottom, sort of live in the round. That's how it went down. So we go out there, and it was jazzed for, like, a live show that wasn't live, but we filmed it as though it were. So we're like that last season, really kinetic and awesome. And they call us into this meeting in this conference room in the back hall right off the editing bay. Me, Dale, and JC. And they sit us down and they read this note to us. And they tell us that they're contemplating a 24-hour security detail for the 3 of us. That they got to take this as seriously as they possibly can. This is Disney, and we can't, you know. And I want to say that when they reflected on, do we keep the show going or not, this was one of the several. I mean, Dale, Ricky, we could all tell you stories that are akin to this one. Because it was becoming a thing. We were becoming adults in a town where we've been running the roost. The fans that come out of wherever, it's a live bill for Disney if they let the show.
Shit went sideways.
Yeah, you know. So they tell us that, and then literally the stage manager knocks on the conference room door. We're on in 4. I'm just like, I look at JC and I'm like, did that just happen?
Did that just happen?
Like, what? And then after that, I called my dad after the episode. I shot the episode. I remember we were on the payphone in the hallway of the studio. I called my dad. I'm like, I don't care what we got to do, what the legal fees are. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. This. I don't feel good. Safe. I don't feel like this is cool. And it's not for this shit, man. And that's as close as I got to, like, walking away from it. Fortunately, I don't have a ton of money to throw at lawyers, and I didn't have to because they pulled the plug on the show.
It is done.
And we were just like, yeah, let's get out of here. So we all ran to LA.
No shit. Okay. All right. I did not know that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Tony Lucca. I have great news for all of you Tony Lucca fans. As is often the case when drinking with friends, we lost track of time and we continued to record for almost another hour. Since the information Tony was sharing continued to get more and more interesting, I decided to keep it all and make this into a 2-part interview. To catch the second half of this interview, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube and or your favorite podcast app and follow us on social media, and you'll be notified when the next episode drops. Talk to you soon.